så framtiden drager låg. Seilene falt mot Danmarks og solbrente menn. Da steg det, hvor bliver og hvor lange ormen lange, kommer ikke Olaf Tryggvason.
So my name's Philip Barkhudarov. I sing bass in Olga Vocal Ensemble. And so that's a group based in the Netherlands and in Iceland. We were all originally based in Holland. And we studied there together at the conservatory in Utrecht. But then later, two of us, including myself, moved to Iceland. So I'm in Reykjavik at the moment. We have quite a diverse background. Like we have 2 Dutch members, 1 English member, 1 Icelandic guy, and then I am Russian American. So we've got a lot of cultural backgrounds there and different accents and languages, you know. And we just met. So the original group was actually a quartet, and it was 3 Icelandic guys and myself. And we all studied together with the same voice teacher, who was also Icelandic. And because of him, he was teaching in Utrecht in the Netherlands. And so somehow he attracted a lot of other Icelanders to come and study there. So there was a whole Icelandic community in Utrecht for a while. And I was there, and suddenly, randomly, all my friends were Icelandic. And we just got along really well, and we started singing a little bit after. We had projects and rehearsals for other stuff. We did operas and things like that. And then after rehearsals there, we would get together, around the piano for 10 minutes and sing some a cappella music, try some arrangements. And that's how Olga got started. That was back in 2012, I believe. Yeah, it's been a while. And then the group kind of evolved. One guy graduated and moved back to Iceland, so we got a couple other guys to replace him, and became a quintet. And then we switched a couple more members. So the group we have now, it's been this group of 5 since 2017. And it's great. One guy, we all have kind of, Olga is not our main job. It's one of our jobs, because most of us we're all freelance musicians, and we do a lot of different types of gigs. So like some of us are working as soloists and in other choirs. One of our tenors, Matt, the English guy, he's singing in the Dutch radio choir full time. So that's quite a busy schedule there. Our Icelandic member, Pétur, he's also, he studied, in addition to singing, he studied cultural management. So he is also producing a lot of like festivals and various projects here in Iceland. So there's a lot of stuff. And one of our tenors he also works as like he's a handyman. So his friend has a company and they build houses. So when that's Jonathan, the other tenor, he's Dutch. So when in between gigs, he goes and he renovates houses and just fixes up, builds new houses, fixes them up. It's
Okay, let's go on. Aside from covers that you do, have you written any originals? And who does the vocal arrangements? Regarding covers, how do you receive copyright permission? And if you're comfortable with talking about copyright, some people are, some not, some are not. So if you're feel good about that, go right ahead. So we're talking about original and everything. Okay. What's your?
Well, I don't know. To be honest, with copyright, we don't do much, except, I mean, generally, if you do a cover, this is just like not on the interview, I guess. But yeah. No, I mean, it's like sort of. I think it's kind of simple. Like you don't actually need permission to cover a song. but you do pay like rights when you perform it. So anytime we go get hired by a venue somewhere, they have to pay. Actually, yeah, I don't really know how it works that much, because usually the venue is responsible.
Yeah,
for
right.
those things.
That's for performance. For arranging, I managed a group for 29 years, and we performed with symphony orchestras and things like that. And we had to get rights for arranging the vocals and rights for also orchestrations and that type of thing. But I'm really concerned about it, especially here in the States. There's an organization, I won't tell you what they are, but they go out looking for people that violate copyright rules, and they charge a small. They find a small school district in Iowa $300,000. They fired the choir director, and he didn't get permission to arrange a piece, and it's.
Oh.
I just, I try to avoid it as much as I can. We try to go by the rules as much as we can. But if you're comfortable in talking about that, fine. If not, you can leave it out. I would leave it out if you don't get permission to arrange the covers that you do. So
But
I don't know what
do they mean if you sell the arrangements, or
well
because
that comes under publishing. That's another thing. I mean,
because if I'm sorry, this is sidetracking the
yeah.
interview, but I'm curious, like because doesn't it only matter if you arrange the song and perform it or record it?
Well, there are several facets to arranging. One is taking a cover song and arranging it yourself, and you need permission to do that. For publishing, that's another hoop you have to go through, and then for recording, that covers some of this. I'm not. I did not do all the copyright for the group. We had another guy do that for us. So, but it just concerns me because copyright is that gray area for a lot of people, and it's something they should cover more in the universities, especially as far as permissions and the business of music. So, but let's just talk about who does the vocal arranging and
All right.
the originals. Okay, let's stay out of the copyright thing.
All righty.
Okay.
So, yeah, we don't do a whole lot of original works, actually. Like we don't compose for the group ourselves yet. That's definitely not something we've excluded from doing. We have one song on our new album that's sort of invented by us, and I say invented because it's more of a soundscape than a real like a song. But that grew out. It's a kind of a overtone singing soundscape with a lot of different stuff going on. But we kind of invented that while touring, and we were like, let's do that, and then let's add some notes, and then it evolved organically. But in general, we cover songs, and we take, because we do music from the very like contemporary music and pop music and stuff back to really old classical music and Renaissance Gregorian chant. So in that sense, we're a cover band of many genres. And the arrangements, they vary. Like sometimes an arrangement just exists by the composer from whatever period it's from. Sometimes we have to adapt it because it's written for a mixed choir, and we have to do it for our male voices. When it's more modern music like jazz and pop and so on, then we sometimes we arrange it ourselves. Like each member has done arrangements in very different styles. And then we also have friends of ours, but particularly people we studied with at the conservatory, who were like, we know, they know us, they know kind of what our vibe is and the voices we're using. So we ask our friends to do it sometimes, and that's really nice because then you can have a back and forth, and and some of them are really good. Sometimes we take a song and we modernize the lyrics a little bit if it's a funny song from the 50s or something, but we can kind of make it relevant for today. Yeah, and then we had a project. Our last sort of CD was called, and touring program was called "It's a Woman's World," and that was back in it was 2 years ago. Yeah, mainly in 2018, and so that was themed around. It was a feminist concert program, so there was all these aspects of like looking at music through a feminist lens, and we commissioned 4 composers to write some nice, some new songs for us on different topics. So that was our first experience with like commissioning work for ourselves. And each of these composers took very different topics, and it was kind of fun to see what we would come up with. Like there was a great song written by an Estonian friend of ours, and she went out and looked at children's clothing. And I don't know if you're familiar with like how very often the words that are sometimes on the t-shirts and so on are very different if it's for girls or for boys. The boys t-shirts will say like hero or strong, and the girls will say pink or princess and that kind of thing. And so she collected a whole bunch of these words and created lyrics out of the words from children's clothing. And then she wrote this piece called Girls and Boys, with these alternating sections with sometimes the girls' voices followed by the boys' voices using the different language. Yeah, so that's kind of that's our rep, It's a bit of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Our long-term goals, that's always tough to say, especially this year, because COVID-19 kind of changes everything in the music world, at least. So, I mean, we've always wanted to be just having fun and touring the world and making CDs every now and then. And we've toured a lot of countries, including the States. So we hope to come back. And I mean, that's really that's the gist of it, But I think in the Corona world, it's changed a lot and restricted things, but it also creates new ideas, new opportunities. So like the new methods of collaboration and creating music together when we can't be together. So I think in the future we're going to be looking at more of that sort of thing, collaborations like this festival we've created, Vox Virtual, where it's far-flung groups from around the world collaborating. I think that's in our future as well. Alrighty. So Vox Virtual originated back in sometime mid-April 2020, I believe, somewhere around there. There was sort of a blur of doing nothing during the lockdown and all of our gigs and tours being postponed or canceled. And I have to say, I spent like a month sitting on my couch, kind of slowly melting into it. And then all of a sudden we had this idea, because we were trying to think of, with Olga, we were trying to think of what should we do? What can we do these days, to create some music, to create some energy and some good vibes. And then we had this idea to collaborate with groups and create a virtual space where we could basically help each other out and bring music out there to the public. And so then the idea took off, came up with a name, Vox Virtual, and I started getting in touch with these groups, and then it was like a domino effect, Suddenly we had 10 groups from all over the world interested in doing this. And yeah, it's an idea that I think it's definitely a pandemic era idea, because part of the concept is that we open up our social media space to each other. So the idea is that all the concerts that we're doing are going to be broadcast all across all of our Facebook pages and social media. So by sharing that space, we combine our audiences and we create much bigger opportunities and much bigger viewership. And it took a bit of a crisis, I think, for people to take a step outwards and be willing to join in that and open up this social media space to each other. So that's what we're doing. And at the end of August 2020 is the first festival. It's a week-long festival with a series of concerts by these 10 groups. And shall I mention the countries are quite diverse? So we have, I'm going to try to remember them all because there's so many, but we have 2 groups from the US. We have some singers from, well, accent is very international, but some of them are Canadian as well, Swedish, French. We're based in Holland and Iceland. Then we have a group from Ireland, from the UK. We have a group from Zimbabwe, who are based in Austria. Then we have a group from Armenia and a group from Georgia, the country. And I think I got them all, but it's just an incredibly diverse lineup. And I think even in normal festivals, like physical festivals, it's rare to see such a diverse group of people, and it's just really inspiring to work together with some of these people. I mean, I had a great revelation with the group we have from Georgia. So they are it's called Ensemble Rustavi, and they are the preeminent experts on Georgian folk singing. The group's been around since the 60s, and they basically research, they find all the old folk tunes and preserve them and find out how to sing them and so on. And I've been an admirer for a long time. And my grandfather was from Georgia, and I learned after I got Rustavi to join the festival, we discovered that my grandfather was, once upon a time, he was a friend of the founder of their group. And it was this sort of, wow, what a connection. And it was just an amazing thing to discover. So this thing is it's an interesting and amazing experience of bringing all these groups together, reaching out across the cyber space, and then trying to bring all of our audiences together. So like our audience that is of Olga Vocal Ensemble is going to get to see all these other groups with all this diversity of music, and Ensemble Rustavi's audience in Georgia will get to see our music and everybody else's, and et cetera, and so we create this this kind of unique event, and we're hoping to, because it's online and we don't have to travel to be in one place. We don't need visas or hotels or face masks to do it. So we're hoping to just do it again, maybe next year or maybe even sooner than that. Who knows? We'll see how it goes. All righty. Well, I would have to just thank, first of all of our fans who, have stuck with us over the years, and they know what we're all about and support us. But for me personally, and well, a lot for Olga as well, we all had one voice teacher, this Icelandic guy named Jón Thorsteinsson, and he is quite a character and quite a singer, and he really got us going with the way we sing. So a big thank you and shout out to him. And yeah, I don't know. For me, there were a lot of people I listened to and heard when I was a kid who made me think, oh, I want to be a professional singer. I want to do that. But the biggest influence, I think, for me personally, was my choral teacher in like elementary school, middle school, and high school. So she was her name is Mrs. Nichols, or Paula Nichols, and she just by happenstance she started teaching at my elementary school right when I was there, And then she started teaching at my middle school right when I was there, and then at my high school as well. And we had a huge choral program at our high school, and all kind of built around her because she was such a great teacher, such a great director. So yeah, that's and to be honest, I sorry to go over the story, but when I started singing, I joined the choir because some of my friends did, and we all sat in the back row and kind of barely opened our mouths. But eventually, my voice changed, and Mrs. Nichols was so inspiring that I kind of fell in love with it. And so a big thank you to her for kind of setting me on this path.